All right, hello friends. It looks like we're live. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Just get everything situated the way that I like it. Okay. Well, happy Monday, friends. Hi, Lee. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, Maggie. So glad you're popping in. Well, while people find us, I am just going to chat for a little bit. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I did a live on Saturday featuring some Spellbinders clubs, and those cards turned out really fun. So if you weren't able to catch that one live, definitely be sure to catch the replay. I also was live on Friday, and I featured honeybee stamps for the first time. We created a really fun Father's Day card, and I think that they just turned out super fun. So if you missed any of those replays, definitely check my live tab and catch those because I think they turned out super fun. Hi, Carmen. So glad that you're here today. Hi, Melissa. Oh, thanks, Lee. And when I flip my camera around, I will show you guys the final results. I added one more turtle and a little bit of embellishing to the shaker card. And I did figure out a way to make the hula-ing girl a little bit lower profile. I don't have a way to show you that, but I might throw it in a reel because I do have plans to use that hula girl one more time before the month ends because I've got to use that sentiment. Yes. So today, to speak of what we are focusing on today, I am featuring goodies from the June release from Altenew. So all of the release hops that I have participated in, so the video hop, the blog hop, and the Instagram hop, I really leaned into the ocean themed products that came out. But today I'm actually going to focus on some florals, and I'm mixing and matching them with some previously released products. I think you're going to like how it comes out today. So I'm excited to create this card. I think it's going to be fun. There wasn't a whole lot of prep work I could do, so we'll see. Hopefully we hit around an hour. It might be a tad bit longer just because we kind of have a few elements we're doing, but I think in the end it's going to be a lot of fun. Hi, Mary. So glad you're here. Oh, it looks like Melissa got all of her C9 summer camp homework done, so that's awesome. Hello, my friends at scrapbook.com. I'm excited to see you pop on here. Hi, Valerie. Hi, Cherie. So glad you're here. Hi, BK Chester. There are a lot of great embossing folders. I'm actually going to feature a previously released embossing folder today. But I think you're going to like the combo. I think it's going to be really fun. Hi, Expression CS. Hi, Jen. Hi, Judy. All right, so people are finding me. I'm just going to give it about 2 more minutes before we flip the camera around and get going. Let's go over a little housekeeping. So there are product links in the video description, fairly complete. I will do a more complete list when all is said and done. So that's all in the video description. There is also a link to my blog post for June. So I always categorize my release posts and put everything in one, so it's super easy to find inspiration. This guy will be at the very bottom, but the blog post, pardon me, does give you links to all of the giveaways that are happening. So there are $900 in total giveaways for the June release from Altenew. There's a video hop, which comments I think end on the 11th. There's the blog hop, which I think comments end on the 13th, maybe. All of that information is the blog. You'll definitely want to check it out. And then, of course, the Instagram hop that went live today. And those comments, I think, are due by the 14th. I may have some of those dates wrong. Everything's in the blog post. So if you want more June inspiration or you just want to hop along and leave comments for your chance to win all of the prizes, that's all included in my June release blog post for Altenew. And then finally, emails. If you're not signed up for my emails yet and you want to receive live reminders, release emails with giveaways, all of that, there is a link under the Connect with Me section in my video description to sign up for emails. I currently send emails, a combination of directly from my website and then an email marketing software. I think more stuff is going to start coming from my email marketing software. So If you find you're not seeing emails, check your spam folder and check your promotions folder, because a lot of times when you use an email marketing platform, that can happen. Now, the promotions folder, I think, is a Gmail thing. It's considered part of your inbox, but they do separate it out. So keep that in mind. And if you do find one of my emails in your spam folder, there are 3 things you can do to try to train your email that you want to get those emails. First is take it out, mark it not as spam. Second is move it to your inbox from your spam folder. And then finally, add the email address that the email comes from to your contact list. And typically that is a pretty good tell to your email that you want to receive the emails. Oh, thanks, Carmen. I appreciate that. Hi, Holly. It's Holy Sparkle, also known as Holly. All right, friends. Well, let's get this show on the road. I'm going to flip my camera around real quick. I will probably need to straighten it. So just bear with me while I do that. Get that nice and straightened up. Okay, so here are the products I'm planning to use today. So the new products are the Build-A-Garden Leaning Lily Stamp, Stencil, and Die Set. So these released to everyone in June. These were part of the May subscriptions, I believe. So you may already have them. Also, you've had a week to shop the Altenew release, so you may have them on the way if you aren't a subscriber. But Build-A-Garden, great price. For subscribing, you get quite a bit of a discount for subscribing each month. I did forget to put a subscription link in my video description, so I'll do that afterwards if it's something you might be interested in. But that's the new item we're featuring today. So I'm going to pair it with the Enchanted Castle Window 3D embossing folder. There are stencils for these. I am not using the stencils today. We're just going to add the texture. And then also finally the Arched Doors die set. We're going to feature one of the doors in here, although I think I totally forgot to die cut the handle. So we will have to do that together. I pre-die cut most of the pieces, but did forget about the handles. So that's okay. But I found that the door kind of fits perfectly in here, this area. I just kind of tested it out. So the doors are a little bit more modern than the textured background, but in the end, I think it's going to be a really, really fun combo together. So, and then we're just going to do a lovely, like this leaning lily is just going to kind of lean over the doorway. I think it's going to be fabulous. All right, I'm going to do some more greetings and then we will get going. Hi, Greedy Cat and Zomara. So glad you're here. Thank you, guys. An expression CS is asking me what kind of camera is that. Right now, I use webcams and I use Logitech Brios. The one facing overhead is 4K. The one front facing is just 1080p high def. But my streaming software isn't 4K, so the 4K piece is for when I'm doing standalone videos that you voice over and upload. So, but just for reference, I do plan to do a little bit more of a permanent setup once we build our home and I get the configuration of my craft room set up. But for now, I need something that's a little bit more temporary, easy to move around and put out of the way. So that is my current setup, and it works pretty decent for now. I do look forward to a day where I have a camera that, even though I have internally set the exposure, it still for some reason changes exposure as things go in and out. So, but it does do a good job for its limited capabilities. All right, friends. So let's go ahead and get started on the flowers today. So we'll do the 3D embossing and the door stuff later. But let's go ahead and grab our stamp wheel. So for the longest time, weirdly enough, I was extremely intimidated by the stamp wheel, and I don't really know why. I might need to trim my cardstock down. It might be a little too long. It is. So let me go ahead and trim this down really quickly. I can never remember how long it's supposed to be in there, so I'm going to just do a quick measure. I think it's 8 inches. Not quite 8. So I'm going to cut this down to 7.5. I'll be right back, and then we will get going on our florals today. Okay, There we go. So now, oh, is it still a little too long? Nah, I'll make it work. I like to do things right in the middle. So I just find it easier. Now we are going to heat emboss today. So first we are going to grab this beautiful gleaming lily. I think this is such a pretty flower. I love lilies. Peonies are my favorite flower, but lilies are right up there. And we're just going to go ahead and put it middle-ish, but I'll align it a little to the top because we've got some room down here that I could either trim it away and use it for something else, or we could stamp our sentiment down there too. I won't do that until afterwards because I think we're going to stamp the sentiment in black and I don't want to run the risk of smearing it. So we'll probably do that after the ink blending and all of that is done, or I might just stamp it to a separate piece. I'm not sure. Absolutely, I agree. Technology is great and sometimes it's not. Okay, let's prep our cardstock real quick with some anti-static powder so that the embossing powder only sticks to the stamping. And then, let go. We are going to ink our stamp up. Now I will stamp this probably 3 times just to make sure I'm getting a good impression. So I live in a dry climate, and especially once you've added the anti-static powder, I just am a firm believer that this first stamp impression, for the most part, kind of soaks in. So I don't ever think I get a very good impression the first time around. I've probably said this, I'm also a very light stamper, so that doesn't help. So love having stamping platforms, stamp wheel, whatever is your preference. I love that we have these things that help us align our stamps so we can stamp as many times as we need. I don't know what we did before these fabulous tools came out. Okay. Yep, I love peonies, any type of peonies, but definitely the big floofy. The big floofy ones are my favorite. Pink, the light pink floofy ones that they almost look like you could pet them. Yep. All right, so 3 times I feel like should be enough. All right. Okay. All right, I don't have as much room on my desktop right now, so I'm just going to wipe off my stamp set really quickly and put it away, because I am definitely a clean as you go kind of card maker. And then we will get the embossing powder added to this and get going on our ink blending. Although with the stamp wheel out, I may go ahead and get my sentiment stamped as well. And then I can put the stamp wheel away. Okay, so, but I do want to get this done so it doesn't dry on me too much. All right, got a nice piece of, so I get a little letter in all of my release boxes from Altenew. And I like to, of course, reuse things as much as possible. So I like to, when I have these smaller embossing powder tubs, I like to use these little pieces of scrap paper to put the embossing powder in, because it makes it really easy to add back in. So we're using the Golden Peach embossing powder from Altenew. It's a really lovely pinky tone. And I need to get this put back in. Ooh, that is a full tub of embossing powder. Like, holy cow. Look at how full that is. They don't scrimp when they add the embossing powder to this. All right, I got that all over my desk here. So let me clean this up a little bit. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and get this heat set. And I think it's going to turn out lovely. Oh, my heat tool cord is stuck under my chair. There we go. Okay, let's see. Go ahead and get this heat set. All right, how is that looking? It's a little harder to tell when it's done, but I think we're good. Okay, I think that looks good. So let's see if we can, not super easy to tell today. For some reason, my exposure seems off on my camera, but we're just gonna have to go with it today because unfortunately, my system doesn't really allow me to update them, update exposure once I'm already live. So I look forward to a day when I can have that capability too. All right, let's see here. I am going to just wipe down the clean this and wipe out the anti-static powder that I'm sure I got here. And then while I have my stamp wheel out, let's go ahead and stamp a sentiment. I'm just going to use this little piece that I trimmed away because I think I will use the wishing you comfort and calm. I think that's a very sweet sentiment, and it has a matching die as well. Thank you, Carmen. All of you talking about custom stuff in there. I love it. Wanting to convince Carissa to create some sparkly things for you guys. I know. I know we talk about merch a lot and my whole unapologetically sparkly merch. There's just only so many hours in the day, friends, and I prefer to spend my days creating, so I just haven't had time to work on the whole merch side. Maybe one day I'll get there, hopefully. And I'm just going to use Altenew's Obsidian Pigment ink, nice and crisp, for this sentiment. Try not to press too hard on the stamp because I don't want to get too much ink in there. I want to keep this nice and crisp and keep those dainty lines lovely. And look at that. This is a fabulous sentiment. And I love that this could be used for sympathy. I do need a personal assistant. If only I could pay one. I think this could be used for sympathy. I would think this could just be used as a thinking of you for somebody maybe going through a frazzled or rough time. So many uses. And now I'm going to set this sentiment up here and let it dry because it's pigment ink. So it takes a little bit of time to dry. So if I touch it right now, it would likely smear on me. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry while we ink blend the beautiful Leaning Lily flower. I know, right? So many ideas, so little time. I sometimes feel like that's my life. But at least it's a good creative life. I'm okay with that. Just wish we could survive on less sleep and with less food and interruptions and all the things. So that would be a good holiday sentiment too. I never really thought about that. Okay, I'm gonna go put my stamp wheel out of my way so I don't feel like I'm being encroached upon by things. All right, grab out my handy dandy, well-loved, well-used grip mat. Sticky mat is what Altenew calls this one, but it's definitely more of, it's definitely a grip mat. It's definitely made from photopolymer, not adhesive residue. Okay. I agree, Joy. And hello. I don't know if I saw you pop in. Oh, I see up there where you popped in. Hi, Amrita. I don't think I saw you either. Hello. I'm so glad you're here. Sorry, I missed a couple people popping in. Okay, let's get our cute little flower. You know what? I'm going to trim this down so I can use the bottom half of the cardstock for something else. That would be great for future sentiments or something along those lines. And then it will fit on my grip mat a little bit better as well. So I'm going to kind of align this a little bit to the left so I have some room for my cardstock or my ink pads to rest here. I don't have ink stands for circle inks yet, so I need to work on that, adding those to my collection. So for now, I'll just lean them on the grip mat here. Well, that is, I don't want to say that's good. I don't know if it's good, but you know, we all do what we can. I am a sleeper, although I slept terrible last night, but I am definitely a sleeper. So I don't function well in terms of crafting much past, 5, maybe some weekends if it's just like die cutting or prepping, but I'm definitely a daytime person now. I'm not a morning person. Don't mistake me for saying that. I'm definitely not a morning person. I'm just also not an evening person. I'm kind of like I don't even know. I'm kind of like a middle of the day caffeinated scarecrow. All right, so these stencils have 2 layers on. I think it's 2 layers on most of the stencils. Maybe a couple is just 1. So we're going to start with this first layer up here, which is the start of our leaning lily. And we are going to do a mix of pinks and orange. So I think we're going to do pinks towards the middle and then blend them out to be orange at the tips. Now I'm looking at this and it looks like this guy has a little bit of a fussy piece in it. So we'll have to be aware of that when we're ink blending. I think this one might too, actually. So I'll probably hold them down a little bit as we go. So I'm going to get my mini blending brushes over here in place. Oh, and that comment came from scrapbook.com that it could be good for the holidays. I didn't even see that. But yeah, I agree it could be. So we've got, so I'm going to start with strawberry in the very middle. Strawberry is just a very light pink. So I'm going to start this way. This one's fine. Those ones aren't very movie. And then I'm going to hold this guy in place as we blend the middle. Oh, Leah. And then I think I'll make this little detail strawberry too. So then let's grab the pastel sunrays and let's blend the second half in a little bit of orange. And I think that is going to be just lovely. So then we'll fade it out into orange. Hold this guy in place. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit more strawberry over top. Ooh, hold that in place. Okay, there is the start to our lily. Mostly looks orange. I'm not gonna lie. That's okay. I think those tones are just so light that the orange mostly took over. That's okay. I think that the next ones are going to be a little bit better. Oh, and these ones, that one's not connected. So I will need to hold that guy in place. So then we have our next bit, and we're going to do pink pearl for the pink and sunlit sand for the orange. Now I do have all of the ink color families linked in the video description. So, and then when I will update my blog. Typically, I try to do it by, the next day. I will update my blog with step-by-step instructions for this card, and I try to do a good job of putting the stencil number and the colors that I've used on it. So hopefully that will be helpful. All right, so now we're going to come in with Pink Pearl. That one doesn't move, so we're good. And I think this is one we'll notice the difference between the pink and the orange a little bit better. The sky does move, so I'm going to go ahead and hold that little bit of stencil in place. You could use something like pixie spray if you wanted, or a little bit of repositionable adhesive, but I think I'm just going to go with the flow. And so for this one, I actually might come from the top and blend into the pink, and I think that will give us a little bit better differentiation between the orange and the pink. Yeah, I like that. Oh, I love when people have crafty friends in real life. So I had a huge, really big group of crafty friends when we lived in Minnesota. So far I have not found that here. And that's okay. I probably have not tried very hard either. We worked mostly on making friends together. Josh and I have, so. But maybe one day we'll get there. Okay, so now we have, so we're moving on to stencil 2. It is cut in half here. So we have the final petal, and then we have all of these buds to ink blend. And I'm just going to go up to the next shades, which for that I'm doing Blush Rose and Canyon Clay. I am going to switch out to a darker pink brush, although I think I was naughty and I forgot to clean it last time. And I'm going to clean it really quick because it's got quite a bit of pink ink there in the top. Yeah, I definitely did not do a good job of cleaning that out. I always try to be good about cleaning my brushes out. After I finish crafting, but apparently I did not do a good job of that one. Okay, so we're going to start with Blush Rose. And we're going to blend at the base of this petal. And then for all of the buds, we're going to do the same thing. Blend at the base with the pink. Going to kind of emulate what we did with the flower. Yes, that's virtual events are fabulous for people that don't live in metropolitan areas like Minneapolis, where there's a little bit larger concentration of people. So it was a little easier to find a crafting group of people there. Okay, so now I'm coming in with Canyon Clay, and we're just going to do the tops of everything to emulate the look of the lily. And let's see how that turned out. And look at that. I think it's beautiful. Okay, so this layer on here is just like the inner details of the lily piece here. And I think I'm going to use Blush Rose again to blend this whole element out, just to give this flower a little bit more pink. It's kind of leaned more towards the orangey side, which I wasn't really expecting. I apparently got a little heavy-handed. So to give it a little more pink, I'm going to do the whole detail section here in blush pink. Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like the blend. Okay. And that is pretty. I think it's coming right along. we still have a few layers left to do. We've got the middles, the flower middles, and the leaves. Okay, put those away. Let's grab stencil number 3. So that is the start. It's the first start of greenery. Maybe if I can find the... And then it is the start of the middles. And if you get the leaves lined up, everything else kind of falls into place. Okay. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. Okay, so for the first set of flower middles, we're going to start with flower middles. So we're going to use chamomile. This is from the golden, I think it's called Golden Sunset color family. It is my absolute favorite shade of yellows. And then its final shade is terracotta, which is a little bit more like an orange. And I think it's just a fabulous color family. Okay, so then we're going to start with Pool for our first layer of greenery. Now, if you don't like aqua colored greenery, you can absolutely substitute this out for a more classic green. Y'all know I love aqua greenery, so I'm going with that today because it feels comfortable and pretty when I think that this will just look really pretty this way. But I know aqua greenery is not everybody's forte. And one of those things, if you're ever recreating this card, you can always change up the colors with whatever your preference is. All right. And that, we've got one stencil left, friends. It's got 2 layers on it, though. So we'd have to keep that in mind. Oh, it's starting to come together, isn't it? All right, so we have the final little bit of greenery. So I'm going to line up the leaves, because I think if I line up the leaves, everything else will fall into place. If you line up this little tiny leaf up here in the upper right-hand corner, and then kind of just guide the rest of those leaves, your middles, which I think might be the hardest things to line up, those kind of guide right into place. There we go. Just had to make a couple little smidges. I just saw someone just join. Hi, Jenny Lynn. I'm so glad you popped on when you had a minute. Thanks for joining me today. Okay, so let's grab Snapdragon and get our middles finished up here. Oh, I just love that. It's such a deep, beautiful shade of yellow. It is just utterly perfect for things like sunshine and flower middles, all of the things. I did get a lot on there, so I'm going to buff a little bit of that away. And then we are going to come in with Mystic Lake, which is the next shade in the aquas. I'm going to go up to one darker brush here. Snapdragon. Oof, I know, I need a snack too. I'm going to get lunch right after I end this live today because I am hungry. I've had breakfast, but apparently I'm having a hungry day. I don't know if you guys have days where you're more hungry than other days. I feel like I do. Okay. Okay. And I'm not too worried if I ink blend into the cardstock because I am going to die cut this flower away. So if it blends over like it did right there, that's going to cut away. So I'm not too worried about it. I love Snapdragon. Hi, Wendy. I'm so glad you're here. Ooh, I almost went and stenciled that. I'm glad I noticed it was not the right layer. Okay, finally, let's do these last stems. These are the stems for the buds, the lily buds. So basically, it's just making sure you get them aligned as best you can, like so. And for these, we're coming in with Teal Tempest, which is the deepest in the shade of aquas. I think this is called Aqua Island. The color family is. I just thought that this lovely teal would be great for the buds here. All right, I want to avoid those stencil layers, but I think with a smaller brush, that should be easy to do. Okay. That, I feel like, looks wonderful. Okay. And our lily is all ink blended, and I think it turned out super pretty. Oh, man, cleaning that grip mat really made it stick. But look at that. I think it turned out really soft and lovely. I love it. Trying to decide if I want to put one stencil back on and add some glittery elements to this. I might, but let's die cut it first, because then that will allow it to dry while it's still die cut. So let's go ahead and grab, goodness, Leah, let's grab the dies really quickly. And let's get the lilies cut out, and we can also probably get the sentiment cut out at this point. So I'm going to grab the lily die first. Thanks, guys. I have to not look at you guys talking about food, because that just makes me hungrier. Okay, I'm going to trim around this guy so it fits a little bit better on my die sandwich here. And let's go ahead and get this guy aligned. And I will probably use a little bit of tape on this one just to make sure it stays in place. Thanks, friends. All right, that is causing freaking havoc on there. Okay, now I can really get this aligned properly. Okay, tape it about there. Hi, Laura. I don't think I saw you pop in. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you like the colors. I think they turned out pretty fun. Okay. And then look at that, and it cuts out the middle pieces. I love when dies do that, so you can actually see through it. That is so pretty. Okay, so we've got that done, and then let's grab the sentiment real quick. Get the little tabs taken care of. Oh, I thought there was one. Oh, there it is, right there. And then let's grab the sentiment. You know what? I think I might just add some glitter after we assemble the card with maybe just like some stickles or something like that. I think that will be easier than applying it through the stencil. Okay, wishing you comfort and calm. Is that? Yep, okay. That's this guy. Thanks, friends. I appreciate your encouragement and your kindness. Hopefully this is dried enough that won't smear when I do this. Okay. Okay. I also feel like these coordinating dies have a tendency to want to shift when they run through. So I'm going to do a little tape and get our sentiment cut out. And look at that. I just love it when there is a die for the sentiment. Now, I have a couple more pieces of scrap cardstock, and I think I want to cut this just a couple more times for stacking purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly. I didn't do that prep work. Oh, I never really thought about it that way. That's actually smart, because who knows if I'm getting it all over my plate there. Okay, and you know what? Before I do this, let's grab that die set, that arched door die set, and some gold, brush gold cardstock, and get the, I cut all of the layers of the door, but I did forget to cut the little handles. And so I'm doing this door right here. So let me find the right handles. Oh, it looks like I'm going to need to cut it twice. There's already something in here. Oh, you know what? Look at that. I actually already have one. So I'll just use that and grab some matching, I think that's gold pearl. So I'll just grab some matching gold and I'll already have two cut out. Like, it was meant to be. So let me just find a matching piece of scrap for that. This should work. You know what? No, I'll cut the whole thing and then I'll keep the other pieces too. I just need to find the right size. Oh, there. That should work. Okay. And that is why my frugal self keeps all the little pieces, because sometimes you have a die this big that you need to cut, and now I don't have to cut into a full sheet to get it done. Okay, so there is that guy. So we have all of our pieces here, and then those are kind of stuck in there. Those I might put back in the packaging to use at a different time. But I think we're done die cutting now. So let me get these poked out and dies put away real quick. And we will get the 3D embossing done. And then I think it's time to get this card, work on assembling this card. It kind of came together pretty quick today. I love that. I had a general idea of what I wanted to do, but you know, sometimes you best laid plans and all that, but this seemed to work out pretty well for me today. Okay. Oh, come on. So there's that. I'm going to set all of these aside. We'll do a little cleanup here. You know what? I'm going to grab a little holder to put all of these pieces in until it's time to start assembling. Because I have a bazillion of them and I might as well use them, right? I just love these little trays from scrapbook.com. They come in so handy. All right, so we've got our flower, we have our sentiment, and then the door handles, which I just need these little teeny tiny skinny ones. So these guys will go back into the packaging. But then we have our door elements that I've pre-cut as well. All right, let's see. So now we need to 3D emboss the Enchanted Castle window. And I just picked some very, very light pink, almost more like cream from this guy. Let me get my die cut machine real quick. Okay, these out of my way while we do this. I love that. I love my stacking trays. They are the best. I have them in all different sizes, and I have a bunch of them because they're just fabulous. All right, I am going to spray the back of my cardstock with a mister. It's just the cute little kitsch mister I have. But I've just found that I think that they emboss a little bit better when you spray the back, especially if the cardstock's a little thicker. And then I'm going to align it to this castle here. And I'm just trying to center it as best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. Okay. And I guess I need to get the sandwiches or the plates for this. So the plate sandwich I use is the plate sandwich that they put on the print on the actual platform base. So it's the 3D embossing folder sandwich. So it's platform base A, and then it is your embossing folder with the paper in it, and then finally adapter plate D. And I find that this pretty much works every time. It's not, you don't have to force that sandwich through. And then in the end, you get absolutely beautiful texture. It's kind of light, some like that. But you haven't cracked your cardstock. So like my cardstock, it looks wonderful. You can use both sides, although I think on this castle one, the embossed side looks better than the debossed side. I don't know that I would use the debossed side of this one. And that's kind of our final technique-based element today. We've got a little over 10 minutes left. And I think my main focus now is just to get this card assembled in our final little bit of time here together. So, but I think it's going to end up turning out really pretty. So let's grab some foam tape. First things first. This is their Instant Dimension foam tape. Ooh, it's got a little bit stuck to it apparently. I'm not sure how that happened. Toss that. And this is the 1/16 inch thickness, and this is the 1 inch width. Actually, I'll just set this aside for now. Oh, fun. I see lots of people use these trays, so I am in good company on that. They come in super handy. I have another one in the works. If you guys remind me, or I'll just try to remember myself too, after we finish assembling our card, I can show you. I did die cut all of the pieces and assemble from the Spellbinder's Large Die of the Month kit, the one with all the pretty flowers and the Aloha word. I haven't created a card yet with it, but I do have them all cut, and I'm excited to assemble a card with it, so I can show you that too. All right, so just going to adhere the lovely embossed image to the front of a white card base. I have a nice white mat on there today. Oh no, Maggie says she has the trays but can't seem to find them after cleaning. Isn't that always the case? You clean up your room and you get everything where you think it makes sense, and then you totally forget where you put them. Ooh, hey. Oh, let go. Let go. It's stuck down too quickly for me. But you know what? All good. All good. Nothing got ruined, so that's good. Man alive. Okay. Cooperate, please. It's probably because I got it wet, so it got a little warped. There we go. Now the warping doesn't matter because it's all nice and adhered down. And there's the details. I think the details will show up a little bit better in photographs. Okay, so let's assemble the door really quickly. Oh, y'all, I need to refill this glue. We will see how this goes. Yes, and I love, I'm not sure if if the stacks boxes, those clear boxes from Spellbinders, I use those all of the time. I start out, I put all of my club kits in one. I have multiples of them. But then I put like assignments that I have with monthly releases from Spellbinders in them, and like label them all so I know what I need to work on next, etc. Just trying to stay as organized as I can so I make sure I get everything done that I have committed to. Okay. Let me grab a clear block. I'll put that on here while I get glue. You know what? I think even though it doesn't have the detail tip on it, I think I'm going to need to use this glue just because I need to refill that Barely Arts one really bad. Just doesn't have enough glue in it. So I'm probably going to get too much glue on this one. It's going to seep out, but that's okay. It dries clear. So not too worried about it. I hope you had a great time at the Jen Shirkus event, Holly. Remember you telling me that's what you were doing this weekend? Okay, can you align a little bit better? There we go. Okay, let's hold that down for a minute and we will glue the sentiment pieces together. Okay, kind of get these stacked and adhered together. I love the glittery window too. I think it's really pretty. Okay. For reference, the glitter cardstock that I used for the window is Fairy Dust, and it's the Shimmering Pool. So, such a pretty color. Another Altenew glitter pack that I would love to see in a larger size. I need to send that email in that we chatted about it. Oh, was it Saturday maybe? I can't remember now. Oh, no, it was Friday. I think it was Friday because I used the other shimmering bluish, aqua-ish color for a window in the Vintage Bug die set. Oh, yay! So Lee and Holly are joining me for the first time at the Creative Crate virtual event that Firefly Farm, based out of Minnesota, offers. So we have class this coming Friday, or excuse me, I think class starts Friday. My class is on Saturday. But, and so they open gifts. They get gifts all weekend long or all week long in their packages. And some of their gifts correspond to classes. And Trisha is always so gracious to me because she knows I kit everything by myself. So quite often to lessen the amount of kitting that I have to do, Trisha will give the product as a gift rather than me having to kit even more than I already do. And so I don't know what your day one gift is, but I'm not sure if it's something that has to do with my class or something completely different, but Trisha is really great about that with me. Okay. So then somehow this guy's going to go on here. I'm not exactly sure how. It's not exactly to scale, obviously, but we're going to figure out a way to make it work. I'm just not completely sure how I want to make this work quite yet. But while I'm thinking about it, let's see if we can get a little bit more glue out of this guy and just get the handles on the door. Okay, I'm going to use my Altenew Perfect Picker is somewhere. I just think it's put up right now. So we're going to go with the one I have close by on hand. I got way too much glue on here. I don't even know if you'll be able to see the handles in the end, but we're putting them on there. And thankfully this glue will dry clear because I went crazy. I will not be photographing this card until the glue is dry because I got a little wild there with the glue. Okay. We'll call that good. Oh, very cool. A score tape holder and a roll of 1/4-inch score tape. That's exciting. That's kind of fun. I know, I'm in the same boat. I need bulk packs of them too, Holly. Hi, Julie. I'm so glad you jumped on and said hi. And of course, the replay will always be available whenever you have a minute. Okay, I'm going to make this work, friends. I'm just not exactly sure how. We did all of this work. And when I did the first test run, it seemingly looked like it would work out. I am maybe going to trim away this leaf here. Or maybe I'll just leave it. That is driving me crazy. Okay. Do I want it to come hang down this way? No. So somehow it has to go like this. And it may just be that I put it on here and then oof, there's a gnat. Gross. Or whatever, a fruit fly or something. Blah. And it may just cover up a larger portion of the door. Or I could just try to gently remove the door and move the door down a little bit. Maybe I should have thought about this before I glued everything in place. Can I gently lift this up and focus it down a little further so it's just a little bit smaller door, and then add the flowers up on the top? I think I like that idea. So thankfully, the glue is a little forgiving here. And then let's trim away some excess. I may have to do a little late surgery. Yes, hi Audrey. No worries that you're late. I'm glad you're here. And I am just wreaking havoc on those little door handles. I might have to do some surgery on those too. I don't know. Okay, so there's that. And then I think the flower is just going to be at the top like so. And then I don't really have to do flower surgery. And you still see the door a little bit better. I am just wreaking havoc on this thing, but maybe, just maybe, there. So I'm going to cut away this leaf. Bye, cute little leaf. Because then this can kind of tuck in like so. And then I like it a little bit better. Yep. Look at that, guys. We got there. Just took me a minute to find a design idea that I liked. But I like that, and I can trim a little bit of this excess off here. Like that. And then the sentiment can go right there. And I think that will be really pretty. All right, let's get... I am going to add... I had some extra pieces. I'm going to put a little foam tape across the top of the biggest lily, like so. Yeah, I want most of the lily to stay on, so we're going to adhere it like that. And then we'll add a little liquid glue just to the bottom here, like so. Maybe on here too. And then I'll trim away whatever is on excess over here on the side. And I think I might not worry about this going off the edge. Probably eventually I'll have to trim it away just for the purpose of going in an envelope. But I think for now, we're going to call it good. Okay. And then I think I'm going to need to get my thinner little foam tape pieces out because I want these to pop up a little bit off the back of the card. This is not Altenew foam tape. I'm pretty sure this is scrapbook.com. Just they've got the thinner little strips like this. So I'm going to use some of that. And this is just the standard 2mm. And look at that. All right, so has this had time? Let's just trim away the little bit of excess here, like so. I'm also going to trim that a little bit. And that, I think, ended up working out. I was a little freaking out a little bit there for a minute about getting this to all work together. I will probably add a couple of clear sequins here and there, but I think I'll do that off camera when I've had a minute to ponder on that. So I'm going to leave the live at right about an hour today and let you guys get on with the day, but I'm sure glad that you joined me. And I hope you enjoyed watching this sweet card come to life. I think it turned out pretty fun. I liked the door with it, and the colors, and all of that. And I think once I add a couple of sequins here and there, that's going to be just like a perfect little final touch. Well, thanks, friends. I'm glad you liked watching it come together. All right. Let me flip back over to me really quick. So that is what I have for you today. Thanks for joining me. Thank you, Jenny Lynn. How I kind of had to make it work moment with the door, and it definitely worked a little bit better, trimming it down a little bit. So I love that. But thank you guys for joining me, starting your week off with Live with Leah, featuring some new goodies from Altenew. Once again, if you want to add these products into your stash, I do have links in my video description that I would appreciate you shopping from. It earns me a small commission at no cost to you and just allows me to keep my little crafty area alive. So, step-by-step instructions will be added to my blog by the end of the day tomorrow. So that will include the stencil numbers with all of the ink colors, all of that goodness. And then, of course, you can always re-watch the replay for any details that you might need. It is a little bit like being in Alice in Wonderland because the flower is so much bigger than the door. There's nothing that's in perspective about this card, but that's okay. It's not. You can do what you want with paper crafting, right? All right, friends. Well, that is everything I have for you. Oh, thank you. So, fun fact about this shirt. I'll move my camera out of the way. So, my cousin, who has since passed away, he passed away a couple of years ago, he designed this Montana shirt. So, it's a special shirt. And so I love this one. I try to filter through all of my t-shirts and shirts that I have. So, but thank you. I appreciate that. And I love that I get to share that this was designed by my now late cousin. All right, friends, that's everything I have for you. One final mention, if you're not signed up for my emails and you would like to receive like live reminders and new release inspiration and all of that, underneath the connect with me part in my video description, there is an email sign up link. So I send emails, or I send live reminder emails about 45 minutes before, and then I send release inspiration and giveaway information typically day of. So those are kind of the main things I send out. Occasionally, if there's a really fabulous sale, I will send that, but I try to make my emails more inspiration based than sale based. All right, friends, that's everything that I have for you. I will be back on Wednesday, same time, same place, so 1 p.m. Mountain Time, right here on my YouTube channel. And we will be creating another card featuring the May release from Paper Tray Ink. So if you're free, I would love for you to join me. And if you want to, once again, if you want to get an email reminder, sign up at the email link in my video description. So hopefully I will see you here on Wednesday. That's everything I have for you guys. Bye. Have a great rest of your Monday and start to your week. And hopefully I'll see you on Wednesday.